Hey guys, Mike here from Ekim Knives, and last time I was with you we did a little bit of hollow grinding. We just got into the basics and we left it at the rough grind. Now this one is the blade we hollow ground. As you can see in the video, I didn't grind the other side, but I went ahead and did that off camera so you don't have to sit there and suffer and listen to grinder noise the whole time. But we're still at 1 millimeter thick. Now this was heat treated from the start, but we're going to pretend that we just sent it out to heat treat and we just got it back, and here it is. Now the first thing I did was surface the blade. So as you can see, the tang is nice and shiny, so it's its final thickness. Now what I'm going to have to do, and as you can see I already dyed the blade. As you know, I love my dye. Let's get your calipers right here and let's measure how thick that blade is. You see that? I got 123 thousandths thick. So now, to get that edge nice and centered, we're going to set our little height gauge, or you use your drill bit, however you mark your center line. And I'm going to set it to half of 123 thousandths is 61.5. And yes, I already set it. So this is set to 61.5 thousandths. Now, according to the hollow grind calculator, we left this at 0.7 high, right? So here we go. This is still on 0.7, and we are pretty darn close. You can see I scribed it a little bit. That's at 0.7, right there in the back there. You could scribe it again and bring it up to, for in this case it would be 0.8, but make sure you use that online calculator for your wheel and your stock thickness. In my case, I can go up to 0.8 as a final grind with the final edge thickness, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to freehand it. I've done a few of these now where I just don't need to. If you're just starting out, go ahead and scribe it again. This way you have a reference, and you just take your final grind right up to that last line. So, okay, of course, me showing you scribing, I took a little bit of the dye off the cutting edge there, so we're just gonna put a little dye on it. Okay, now I gotta sit and wait for that to dry. Just kidding, I'm not gonna sit here and make you watch paint dry. Hold on, be right back. Okay, the dye's dry. So now we're going to go ahead and scribe our center line. So same deal. Oh, let me tilt you down so you can see. Blammo. And just going to drag this around. Now, if you're not sure if your method is perfect, like it's going to get it dead center every time, just go ahead and flip that blade over. If it's off, it'll give you train tracks. If it's right, you'll get a single line. So as you can see, I got myself a nice single line. Because the blade's heat treated, the dye tends to flake off a little bit, but you can still see it. So alright, let's go finish this guy, huh? Okay, so you're going to be like this. It's going to want to suck right into that hollow, and it doesn't matter, like I said before, where you are on the wheel. It's going to go into that same hollow every time. But to get that edge thinner, you're going to put the pressure up here, so here's an exaggerated motion. You see what I mean? You're going to lift it up just a hair. And to bring the grind higher, you're going to put the pressure back here. Okay? That's all it is. And whatever motion you did to rough grind it, do the exact same motion. So if you did this, or if you did the twist method, or if you did a variation of both like I do, then do that. Now, I like to dye my blades in between grits, because if the scratches don't tell you where you screwed up, the dye will. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to thin this out, the cutting edge first, almost like doing your 45s again. And we're just going to walk that grind right up the steel. 60 grit belt, by the way. Okay, you see, it's almost like doing your 45s again, except we're going to go right to the center. Now I'm going to do the other side. Okay, that edge is maybe probably about a 15 thousandths thick edge or 20 thousandths. It's still a little obtuse, but that's okay, because when we put pressure back here, we're going to end up thinning it out a little bit. So now I'm going to go right into the grind. What I want to do is start my grind just above that 45. So don't start back here or you'll make it too thin. Start it just behind it, so increase your angle just a little bit, or I'm sorry, decrease your angle just a little bit. So instead of this, we're going to do this, just a hair. And we're going to want to hop right into that hollow. Put pressure towards the cutting edge back here, and you'll thin that out and make it one bevel. See how I kind of blended the two? Now I'm going to hop right in that hollow and put some pressure down here to blend it all. Alright. You see what I mean? Don't worry if it's wavy. Once you lock into that hollow, it'll clean up. What you're worried about right now is just blending that cutting edge. Now, like I said before, watch the heat. You want to get on that heat. If it's too hot for you to hold, the blade's too hot, quench it, or, I'm sorry, cool it in a bucket of water. Walking that grind up. See, don't worry about all this. It'll be fine. See, I'm still keeping some pressure towards the cutting edge. As you see, just like when I rough ground, I have a little bit of a facet there, so I'm going to press that out. Otherwise, I could go a little bit thinner back here, so I'm going to press that out as well. So get right behind it and just give it a little bit of pressure. Remember, it doesn't take a lot. See? Now we've cleaned that up. I know it's dirty in the water and all that stuff, but you want to feel for any waves or anything in the blade. When you are wave free and your grind is at the maximum height, that's when you're ready to move on to the next grit. Do not move on until then. So now I'm putting pressure towards the spine. I'm trying to bring that grind up. You see? See that facet right there in the light? There it is. You see it? That's the grind walking up. We're right here now. We want to get up here. Remember, this step you want to get perfect. If you don't get it perfect here, all your other grits are going to be miserable. All it's going to do is highlight all your errors, all the waves. Here we go. You see, I got that wave going on right there towards the tip. Right here, you see it? Now we want to press that out. Back here looks pretty good. Nice and clean. So we're just going to press out that transition point. So I'm going to go right on the transition point. And I'll do a little bit of this curving, a little bit of twisting, and just kind of finesse that out. You notice I start right where it needs to be ground. If you're not comfortable doing that, you could do your passes, just don't start in the same spot every time. Remember, consistency is key. Okay, I'm going to call that side. Let me wipe that off on my shirt here. You'll be able to see it a little better. I'm going to call that side pretty good. We still got a bit of a wave right here. So I'm going to work that out, maybe do one more light pressure pass and focus on that area right there. Otherwise, I'm going to call this one good and flip it over to the other side. Sometimes a tiny, tiny little bit of rocking motion will get you where you need to go. I'm not putting a ton of pressure in here, that's why I can stay on the grinder so long without it overheating. If you really lean into it, you're going to overheat real quick. Alright, that looks much better. Nice and consistent. I know it's got crap all over it, but there you go, that's a little better. You see? And when you're looking at this yourself, you're looking at your own blade, tilt it at all kinds of light, take it outside if you have to, and it'll show you exactly where your problem spots are. You see? You can also look at it from the grind lines. Now these are 60 grit grind lines, so it'll tell you right away if all your lines aren't going top to bottom the whole length of the blade, and let's say you have lines that are going a slightly different direction down here or down here, that means you have a wave. You want to get them all going the same direction. Right now we're going to call that pretty good. The next grit will tell us how good it really is. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. Now this is my weak side, so you can see I ground way down here and then shot too high too soon, but it's okay because we're still within that hollow, so just, if that's the case with you, just back off a little bit, slow down, and you'll be fine. Okay, we got some kind of wild triple facet thing going here. We got 1, 2, 3 facets. So I'm going to pick one. The middle one is always the best on a hollow grind. So I'm going to jump in that middle one and even that out. Now the way I evened that out was, see there? We're looking at the heel of the blade. I didn't get to the front yet. But that's nice and even now. Well, pretty much. It's still going to go up a little bit. The way I evened that out was I jumped in that middle facet and I put pressure towards the cutting edge. So it made that one big grind. Now I'll jump right back in that middle facet and I'll put pressure towards the spine, and it'll make that last facet go away and even it out. Okay, again we're looking right at the plunge. See how I'm going all the way up to the grind line? And then the facet goes down like this. That's okay. Now when I traverse the blade, the grinding away, it'll all come out. Remember, watch that heat. We're starting to get thin now. You see? I haven't gone up any higher over here, but I'm starting to move across because I'm focusing my pressure back on that side. Right now I'm just working on that tip, trying to even it all out. You can see sometimes if you do one of these passes where you kind of shimmy the thing back and forth, light pressure, it'll even out your line. Because remember, with hollow grinding, you're just putting that blade in the hollow. The blade's almost grinding itself. You just got to tell it where to go. See what I mean? More grit and garbage, but this one could use just a tiny bit of loving, and I'm going to call it good and we'll move up to the next grit. Okay, that looks pretty good. Grind lines are straight across. They got the same swoop in it on both sides. The ends end up at the same spot right at the base of the fuller where I want it. You see? Now, we still have, it's a fairly thick edge. You know, maybe for a chopper that would be a good edge, but for me I like to go a little thinner. I'd say that's probably about 15 thousandths. I got a little heavy spot right here in the middle, but that's not a big deal. I'll take that out in the next grit because it's just such a small amount. So okay, we're going to dry off our blade now. We're going to dye it again. Yeah, I know, again. We're going to do it again. So I'm going to pause these cameras and dye the blade, and I'll be right back. We'll jump up to 120.